Hello, I am Phương.
I'm Caroline.
Today I want to ask Sister Caroline about her eating style. Well, I am a person who likes meat very much, and I want to know some reason from Caroline why she eat vegetables so that I can eat less meat and more vegetables. The first question: when did you begin eating as a vegan?
Okay. Well, first, for anyone who doesn't know, eating vegan means eating no animal byproducts. So that includes no milk and no eggs, no cheese. And that's different from being a vegetarian, which you can eat milk, cheese, and eggs, but just not meat. But for me, all of those I cannot eat. And to answer your question, I began to be, I first started as vegetarian because it was very hard to cut out everything. I really like to eat cheese. So I first started eating vegetarian when I was 15 years old. And then I cut out eggs, cheese, and meat, going completely vegan when I was about 19. For context, I am 22 now.
Okay, so what kind of food do you usually eat?
Well, as people know, I think there's a myth that people who eat mostly plant-based diets or don't eat meat don't get enough protein or other nutrients, but that's not true. You just have to be a little intentional about the ways that you're eating to make sure you get the nutrients. So I do that by eating beans with either rice or bread or potatoes, just another starch to get the complete protein. I like eating pasta with lentils. So instead of like grain flour, it's like bean flour to get protein and other nutrients. I really like tofu. Tofu is a complete protein on its own. And I think a lot of vegans don't get enough good fats, which is often provided through fish oil. So I take, I eat a lot of avocado and other meat alternatives like seitan and tempeh, which are tempeh is fermented soybeans. And then let's see. Oh, I really like milk alternatives to dairy. So oat milk and soy milk, almond milk. Yeah.
So what should encourage you to be a vegan?
Well, I consider myself to be an environmentalist, and while I think it's completely possible to be environmentalist and also, eat meat sometimes, I also really love animals, and I believe that animals suffer the same way that we do, and just like humans, we are not here to serve other people or others. We're here to live and enjoy life, and I think that animals deserve the same. So I don't want an animal's purpose to just be to serve humans, and I don't want them to die prematurely just so we can eat them. And also for the environmental part, just being a vegan or the meat industry requires a lot of land to grow crops to feed the animals. It takes water to also raise the animals, and then it also requires transportation from the meat to different places. So just from raising the animal to ending up on your plate, it uses so many resources. So when you just eat vegetables, you're able to save water, save land, and save emissions.
So is it like it have to like a lot of money to have a meat because there's water, crop, and a lot of land to grow the food for the animals?
Yes, money in America, meat actually costs less than vegetables because the government subsidizes the meat industry, so pays the meat industry to make prices cheaper, which bad. But yeah, an economic, it can be argued that you can go vegetarian as a way to save money.
So this is the most question that I want to ask you. Is it hard for you at first because you love meat?
Yes, it was very hard for me to start. That's why I began as a vegetarian, so I could still eat cheese and milk and eggs. Because they're so good, or they taste really good. But I realized that there are lots of alternatives, and the systems in place around the food industry just make it are geared towards meat and dairy heavy foods. But when I first started, I kept, it was hard, but when I went out to eat at restaurants, it became so much harder because they make the food they make meat, they prepare meat really well. They're cooks. Their job is to make meat taste good.
Yeah.
So it was really hard to say no. My favorite was chicken fingers. Really hard to say no to chicken fingers. And I think cheese was the hardest thing to stop eating.
Yeah, it's very tasty.
Yes, I definitely identified as a cheese lover.
So how do you feel when you are used to eating vegetables?
Well, when I eat meat, I feel tired. I feel heavy. It's harder for me to move, I think. And when I eat vegetables, I feel lighter. I feel like I have more energy. And I also feel better, morally, because I didn't cause an animal to die or use up so much water and contribute to emissions.
Yeah, maybe I should eat more vegetables to save some animals too.
Yeah, I think if you just maybe you already spend 1 day a week, right, eating just vegetarian?
No, one day, twice a month.
Oh, twice a month.
Yeah.
So if you just do 1 day a week, then that's even better.
Yeah. So are there many vegans in America like you?
I think no. There are no. It's really it's very popular because again, it's cheaper to eat meat. Meat products and animal products are cheaper than fresh vegetables, which is an injustice. And also, it's more, I guess, popular to be eating meat.
Yeah, because it's kind of cheaper.
Yes, and I think culturally, there's a whole history to this, but Americans didn't used to eat as much meat as we do. Americans consume maybe the most meat of any real country because they in about maybe 50 years ago, the advertising agencies started pushing meat. So they created, psychologically, they convinced many Americans that meat was a necessary part of every meal. So you needed to eat meat at every meal. And that was through persistent media tactics and very predatory tactics. So at this point, we're so used to eating a lot of meat that many people can't imagine going a meal without eating a healthy, balanced, nutritious vegan meal. But I'd say about 3%, I think according to data in my research, about 3% of Americans are vegan, which is very, very small.
Yeah, very small.
When you compare that to India, I think over 70%.
India have a lot. India have a lot of vegans than America.
Yes, and this is a cultural thing, I think.
So, do you miss eating meat?
I think yes. I think that it's okay to not restrict yourself completely. So sometimes I will eat fish. I really like sushi, so I'll eat sashimi or I'll eat bunsaka, and I'll eat shrimp sometimes. But I'm sorry. What was your question?
So
Do I miss eating meat?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's hard because when I go out to dinner with my friends, I'd say that restaurants are the hardest place.
Yeah.
But when my friends order meat and they want to share with me, I have to say no.
but you want yourself.
Yes.
You're vegan.
Yes, but I also want them to be vegan too, so I have to say no. No.
So have you ever broken the rule to eat meat
Yes.
many times?
Not too many times, no. To me, it has to be a special occasion or a cultural food. So I really like xiaolongbao, like soup dumplings, pork soup dumplings.
Yeah.
So I'll eat like maybe one if my family gets some.
Oh.
Or sometimes if I if I go out with friends, when we let's see, Dino, if Ban Em Dino, or New Ban Em Dino, we drink some beer, then I might have a bite of a chicken nugget.
Yeah. So you see, I love meat, but after listening to this Caroline's sharing, I think I should less meat and more vegetables so I can have the environment of it. Thank you for your listening.
Yes.
And see you.
Yeah, thank you. Bye. Thanks for having me.